Right. So that situation happened.
Yeah.
You went on with your life. You went to Willow Bridge High School.
First graduating class at Willow Ridge High School in 1981. Yeah.
And, you had good grades. You were in school plays, and you're the captain of the football team.
That is absolutely correct, Vlad. Yeah.
And from what I understand, you weren't really getting into trouble as a kid. Or were you?
No one just knew about it.
Yeah. But you never got caught up yourself.
I was always clever. In fact, I would steal all of my books out of class from junior high school on. I would go to the book to find out what classes I had that semester, go steal the books, bring them home. So I didn't have to get into fights, getting beat up by the guys I hung out with, because you weren't cool if you had a book. So, but what they didn't know, I was more afraid of my grandmother and my mother than I were them. Even though I didn't want to get in constant fights after school with them, I figured out that if I had these books, I can memorize whatever the teacher said, or write it down, hide it in my clothes, then go home. I had everything, my whole system. I had paper, pens, everything I needed to do for that lesson. But I looked cool with the thugged out guys that wanted me to be a part of them. And I would go home in the middle of the night and do all my homework and then sneak it back into the classrooms. And they never knew how I was getting good grades. To this day, they probably look at me and go, damn, how did this guy not go to penitentiary? Yeah.
Well, even though you were captain of the football team, you actually didn't get a college scholarship to play.
Yeah. I was offered what we call a year-to-year from Texas Lutheran, but since you bring that up, you've done your research, I got caught up in what I call my first scandal, unbeknownst to me. My coach at the time apparently was taking kickback for certain players to go to other programs that were what they call lesser programs. And I was one of those students. The only person that didn't get treated that way was a guy named, now Hall of Famer, named Thurman Thomas.
Ah, okay.
And we took him out of 8th grade at Missouri City High School. He's a 5-year letterman. Hall of Famer today. I wish I could get the footage. The guy would run out of the shoes. I was the one that came up with the idea of taping up his ankles and then taping the right elbow cleat up onto his actual foot so his shoe wouldn't fly off. That's how hard he would cut. But that was the glory of playing with Thurman Thomas. But up to that point, I was certain that I was going to get in what we call the Pac-8. I was Texas high school football boy, honorable mention, which is something very difficult to do, at 175 pounds as a defensive end or outside linebacker, to get the attention of the entire state of Texas during the 80s when we had the height of Friday Night Lights and Odessa Permian, which was king. So to get any acknowledgement was a huge, huge task. So I was feeling pretty good about myself. I expected much more than what I received. And I was expected to go to visit this particular school in Mesquite, Texas, and I only found out that it's what we call a full run, a full ride. It's just year to year. You get hurt, you get redshirted, you're out. I'm right back in Houston, Texas with nothing. And I was smart enough to know that that's not what I wanted. I think I'm better than that, right? I got to be. But it never came to pass. So out of rebellion, I got pissed off and I just joined the military. I was watching Soul Train and I saw the ad for Air Force. And that's the first thing I did. I'm out of here. It was the height of a recession. I joined it. Didn't even tell anybody. Didn't tell my coaches. Didn't tell my mom. You could do it before you graduated high school back then. I was still 17. I turned 18 when I was in the military. So that was my revenge for them and saying, okay, I don't want to do football anymore. I'm not going to where I want to go. I'm going to the military. Find out a year later from my black coach, brings me to the field house and says, look, I got something I want to tell you. I'm now 8 up in the military, saluting homecoming. I'm in the military, got 4 years to do in the military. He's taking me to come to the field house at Willow Ridge and shows me all these letter adventures. And I think there was in there like Buckeyes, Grambling, Texas Southern University, like all these letter adventures.
Oh, wow. So you could have actually gone to a top school.
And the coach actually pulled me out. I actually talked to my old guy that We played in the final game when all the scouts were there. He remained nameless, but he's a pilot now. I still follow him on Facebook. And he still feels bad about that. It's like they pulled me out. I always started. But when the scouts were there, they wanted to put him first, and he was a lesser player. He just happened to be less melanated, right?